Hello my dear students. We are dealing with lesson number 10, light, reflection and refraction. The topics we have covered till now are reflection of light, reflection by spherical mirrors, mirror formula, refraction of light. Today we are going to cover refraction by spherical lenses. So let's start. What is lens? A transparent material bounded by two surfaces, of which one or both the surfaces are spherical, forms a lens. You can see it in this diagram that these two lenses are formed by the two spherical surfaces. So a lens is it is a transparent material bounded by two spherical surfaces, or in some lenses you can observe one spherical surface and other surface would be plane. There are two types of spherical lenses. A convex lens. See, a lens having two spherical surfaces bulging outward is called double convex lens or simply a convex lens. So this is the diagram of convex lens, which is having the spherical surfaces which are bulged outward. This type of lens is thick at the center and thinner at the edge. Convex lens converges the light rays after refraction as shown in figure. So we can see these light rays after refraction, they converge, they meet at certain point, and so this type of lens is called as converging lens. So remember, convex lens is also known as converging lens as it converges the light rays after refraction. Another type of lens is the concave lens. A lens having two spherical surfaces curved inward is called double concave lens or simply concave lens. So this is the concave lens which is having spherical surface curved inward. If the surface is curved inward, then that type of lens is called as concave lens. These lenses are thinner in the middle and thicker at the edges. Such lenses diverge light rays and so known as diverging lens. We can see these light rays after refraction diverges in wide area, and so this type of lens is called as diverging lens. So concave lens is diverging lens and convex lens is converging lens. Here are some important terms for spherical lenses. First one is the center of curvature. Centers of spheres from which two surfaces of lens are formed are called centers of curvature of lens, usually represented by letter C. Since there are two centers of curvature, we may represent them as C1 and C2. We can see in this diagram, center of curvature is the center of transparent sphere from which the lens is formed. So here we are having one sphere and this one is another sphere. When we overlap these two spheres, we get this type of lens, convex lens. And so the centers of these two spheres is called as center of curvature of the lens. Center of spheres from which two surfaces of lens form are called centers of curvature. We can represent it as C1 and C2. Next is principal axis. What is principal axis? The imaginary line passing through two centers of curvature C1 and C2 of both the surfaces of lens is called principal axis of the lens. So this is the principal axis, which is an imaginary line which passes from both the center of curvature, that is from C1 and C2, is called as principal axis of the lens. Next term is optical center. The central point of the lens on the principal axis of the lens is called optical center of lens. See, in mirror we were having pole and in the lens we are having optical center O. It is the center or the central point of the lens on the principal axis. So it is exact center of the lens on the principal axis. It is denoted by alphabet O and it is called as optical center. Next is aperture. The effective diameter of circular outline of a spherical lens is called its aperture. Next is radius of curvature. The radius of transparent sphere of which curved surface of lens forms is called radius of curvature of lens. So this is the radius of curvature of the lens or the radius of sphere of which our lens is a part is called as radius of curvature. Lens has two radius of curvature, R1 and R2, as it is having two reflecting or two spherical surfaces. Principal focus. Rays of light parallel to principal axis are falling on convex lens. These rays, after refraction from the lens, are converging to a point on the principal axis, and this point on the principal axis is called as principal focus of the lens. So when the parallel rays falls on convex lens, after refraction they converge, they meet at certain point on the principal axis, and that point is called as principal focus. It is denoted by letter F, and a lens has two principal foci, F1 and F2. Several rays of light parallel to principal axis are falling on the concave lens. Now see principal focus of concave lens. This we learn about the convex lens, that when the parallel rays falls on the convex lens, they converge at the point, they actually meet on the principal axis, and that point is called as principal focus of convex lens. Now for concave lens. When several rays of light parallel to principal axis are falling on the concave lens, these rays after refraction from the lens are appearing to diverge from a point on the principal axis, and this point on principal axis is called principal focus of the concave lens. So here we can see when these parallel rays are falling on the concave lens, they get diverged after refraction, and when we extend those diverged rays backward, it appears that they get diverged from a certain point on the principal axis, and that point is called as principal focus of the concave lens. Next is focal length. The distance of the principal focus from the optical center of lens is called as focal length, represented by small letter f. So the distance between the principal focus and optical center is called as focal length, and it is denoted by small letter f. Distance between O and F1 is called focal length F1, and distance between O and F2 is called as small f2, that is focal length, another focal length. So all these are important terms related to the lens. Now we will discuss about image formation by convex lens. See, in this table we are getting idea about position, relative size and nature of image formed by convex lens for various positions of the object. Where the object is kept in front of lens, according to that image formation will take place, or according to that position of image will be there, nature and size of image will be there. Means when the position of object changes, the nature, size and position of image will also change. In this table we can see if the object is at infinity, the image will be formed at focus, that is on f2, and that image will be highly diminished like point size image. Nature of the image will be real and inverted. Student, this is important table. In mirror also, in spherical mirrors also, we learn about a table which will help you to understand position, nature and size of image when object is placed at different positions. So this is also another important table which will help you to locate image, nature and size of the image. This one is the another table which gives nature, position and relative size of image formed by concave lens for various position of objects. Concave lens will always give virtual, erect and diminished image irrespective of position of object. So in case of concave lens, wherever object is, but the nature of image will be virtual and erect, size will be diminished as compared to the object size. Next topic is image formation for spherical lenses. We have light ray rules like mirror for lenses also. We will learn how to apply these rules for constructing ray diagram. So let's start with convex lens. Convex lens is converging lens. For image formation, we need to draw the lens accurately. First of all, draw a line representing principal axis. So draw a straight line with the help of ruler. It is our principal axis. Mark the optical center O in the center of line using ruler. So exactly at the center you have to take optical center. Then mark 2 points on the right of optical center, that is point F2 and 2F2. The distance between these 2 points should be same. For example, I have taken here 2 cm and this one should be 2 cm. Similarly, on the left side mark F1 and 2F1. So here again at the same distance you have to take 2 points F1 and 2F1. The distance between this should be same. We will take 2 cm. So this you have to remember that to construct ray diagram you have to take same distance between each point. So if the distance between O and F2 is 2, then distance between F2 and 2F2 should be same, it should be 2. Now draw convex lens. You can roughly sketch the lens or use compass to draw 2 arcs of lens. Lens should be thin, don't draw thick lens. So the lens should be thin. It should be thin like this. Don't draw the thick lens. Okay. Now we will see rules for image formation for convex lens. There are 3 rules for the convex lens. First rule is what? A ray of light which is parallel to principal axis after refraction passes through the focus on the other side of lens. We can see this in this table. That is, the ray which is coming parallel to the principal axis after refraction, it passes through the focus on the other side of lens. Another rule is passing through principal focus. If ray of light passing through the principal focus, then after refraction it goes parallel to the principal axis. So this one is the light ray which is passing through the principal focus, and after refraction it will go parallel to the principal axis. Third rule is a ray of light passing through optical center of lens goes straight, it emerges without any deviation. So there will be no deviation, there will be no refraction of light takes place when the light ray passes from the optical center. These are three rules or the light ray rules for the convex lens. Now we will learn about concave lens. Concave lens is a diverging lens. For image formation, we need to draw concave lens accurately, similar to the convex lens. That is, draw a line representing principal axis, mark the point O, F1, 2F1, F2 and 2F2 at same distance on the principal axis. Then roughly sketch the lens and or use compass to draw two arcs of the surface of the lens. Again, you have to remember that lens should be thin, it should not be thick lens. Now see the rules for image formation of a concave lens. Similar to convex lens, here also we are having three rules. You can see in this table. First rule, the light ray which is going parallel to the principal axis after refraction appears to be coming from the focus. So if we extend refracted ray backward, it appears that they are coming from the focus, that is from F1. So here we can see these are the parallel rays. After refraction they get diverged. So this is the parallel ray, after refraction it get diverged. If we extend this diverged ray backward, it appears that it is coming from F1, that is principal focus F1. Second rule is what? Ray of light going towards the focus after refraction becomes parallel to the principal axis. So if ray of light is directed towards the principal focus, if it is directed to the F2, after refraction it goes parallel to the principal axis. Third rule is what? When the ray of light passing through optical center of lens after refraction from concave lens, it will emerge without any deviation. So this rule is same for both concave and convex lens. So these are light ray rules for concave and convex lens. To draw ray diagram, we need at least two rays from the point of object. So we can choose any two rays out of these three rules. Now, if we will construct ray diagram for different position of object, we will obtain its image at different position, and nature and size of image will be different according to the position of object. Now see the first case. When the object is placed at infinity, then the image will be formed on the opposite side of the object at the principal focus, that is F2. So this one is F1 and this one is F2. So if object is at infinity, image formation will take place at the principal focus F2. The nature of image will be real and inverted, and size of image will be highly diminished, that is point size image you will obtain. So this is the first case, that when object is placed at infinity, image will form on the at the principal focus F2. The image will be real and inverted and highly diminished. Now another case is when object is beyond 2F1. So this is 2F1 and this one is 2F2. When object is placed beyond 2f1, as I told, we need to consider two rays from the top of the object. We need to select any two rays out of three rules. So first rule is what? The ray which is going parallel to the principal axis after refraction passes through the focus. So this is the first ray, we are taking it from the point A. So this is the object A, B. We are taking the light rays from point A. First rule is what? The ray which is going parallel to the principal axis after refraction, it passes from the principal focus, that is f2. Second rule is what? The ray which is passing from the optical center, it moves without deviation. It emerges without deviation. So these two rays after refraction meet at certain point. These two rays meet at this point, and here we obtain the image of point A, that is A dash. So here we obtain wherever the two refracted rays intersect each other, that will be the position of image. If we will extend this image to the principal axis, we get the bottom of image, that is B, image of point B, that is B dash. And so this is our image A dash B dash, which is formed after refraction of two rays of light. Now we'll see the properties of image. We have to consider that image is real and inverted or virtual and erect. Second point we have to consider is that image is magnified, diminished, or it is same size as the object. And third point we have to consider, that is what is the position of image. So to describe properties of image, we have to describe all three points, such as real or inverted, real and inverted, or virtual and upright, or it is magnified, diminished, or same size. And third point, that is position of the image. Now see, for this case the properties of image are, image is real and inverted because we obtained A dash here. So it is real, and why it is real and inverted? Because after refraction the refracted rays actually intersect with each other. So it is real image, real and inverted image. If we will observe the size of image and size of object, we will come to know that size of image is diminished, smaller than the object, and image is formed between f2 and 2f2. So this is the property for the case 2, that when object is placed beyond 2f1, image will be formed between f2 and 2f2. Image will be real and inverted and diminished. Now case 2, that is object at 2f1. If the object is placed at 2f1, again we have to consider any two rules. First ray or first rule is what? The ray of light parallel to principal axis, after refraction it goes from the principal focus. So the first ray of light we will take which is parallel to the principal axis and which passes from the f2. And another ray, the ray which is passing from the optical center without any deviation, it goes from the it emerges without, there will be no refraction. So these two rays we are taking. In this case, image is formed at point of intersection, that is when these two rays after refraction meet each other or intersect with each other. So at the point of intersection we obtained the image, that is A dash B dash. So this is our image which is formed, and the properties of image are, the image is real and inverted, it is same as the height of the image is same as height of object, and image will be formed at 2f2. So on the other side it will form on the 2f2. So this is the properties of image for the third case, that when the object is placed at 2f1, image will be formed on the opposite side of the object at 2f2. It will be real and inverted image and same as that of object. Next is when the object is placed between f1 and 2f1. If the object is placed between 2f1 and f1, so this is our object which is placed, object AB. Then again we have to take two rays, that is ray which is going parallel to the principal axis. After refraction it will pass from the f2, and another ray which is going from the optical center, it emerges without any deviation. These two rays will intersect at this point of intersection, and this point of intersection is our image A dash. If we will extend it towards the principal axis, we will obtain the image of point B also, and this is our object, image of our object AB, that is A dash and A dash B dash. Now see the properties of image. When the object is placed between f1 and 2f1, the position of image will be on the opposite side of the object and beyond 2f1. So image will be formed beyond 2f2. So the image will form beyond 2f2 as the rays are actually intersect with each other. So the nature of image will be real and inverted, and image will be enlarged. We can see the size of image is larger than the size of object. So this is fourth case, that when object is placed between f1 to f1, image will be formed beyond 2f2. It will be real, inverted and enlarged image. Next case is when object is placed at f1. If the object is placed at principal focus f1, then image will form at infinity. The nature of image will be real and inverted, and it will be highly enlarged image. Now see, in this case you can we are taking same rays, that is ray which is going parallel to the principal axis, passes from f2 on other side, and the second ray passing through optical center. In this case the refracted rays are parallel, they never meet. The image formed at infinity, and it is real and inverted and highly magnified image. Next is when the object is placed between f1 and optical center. So when object is between optical center and focus of the lens, then we obtain image which will on the same side of object. So this is our object AB, and we obtain the image on the same side, and this image is virtual, erect and enlarged. So to construct this ray diagram, again we have to take two rays from the top of the object, that is from point A. We can see that refracted rays are divergent rays, and so they do not intersect with each other. But when we produce them backward, we obtain the image. So these refracted rays, if we extend these refracted rays backward, we obtain the image A dash B dash, which is virtual, erect, magnified and behind the object on the same side. So all these are different position of object, position of image and nature and size of image formed by the convex lens. Now we'll see image formation by concave lens. at different position. First case is when object is at infinity. When object is placed at infinity, again we have to take any two rays out of those three rays of light ray rule. First rule is what? When ray going parallel to principal axis after refraction, when we extend the refracted ray backward, it appears to come from the focus, that is F1. So this is the parallel ray. After refraction it diverges. If we extend that divergent ray, it appears that it comes from F1, that is principal focus F1. Here we have taken both the parallel rays. Two rays are divergent rays, but if we extend them backward, they appear to meet at a certain point, that is on the principal focus, and that point is the image of our object. The point where they meet is the image of the top of object, that is point A, if object is AB. Properties of image are virtual and erect, diminished. Position is image will be formed at F1 at principal focus. It is highly diminished and virtual and erect. Next case is what? When object is placed between infinity and optical center of the lens. So when the object is placed at any point between infinity and optical center, again we have to take same rays. The ray which is going parallel to the principal axis, it appears that it emerged from F1, and a ray which is passing from optical center. If we will extend those rays, they will appear to meet at certain point, and that point will be the image of object. We will obtain image which will be virtual, erect, diminished and form between object and lens. So this is image formation by spherical lenses. Hope you understood it. I will suggest you to draw all these ray diagrams in your notebook. You have to take care of distance between O and F1 and F2, 2F1 and 2F2. Distance between every point should be same. You can take 2 cm, 3 cm, 4 cm, any distance you can take, but it should be same between all the points, and the lens should be thin. You can construct the ray diagrams. It is important part of this lesson. So there are some sign conventions that we must follow, and those are Cartesian sign convention. I hope you remember the sign conventions for spherical mirrors. That is, object is always placed to the left to the mirror. Distances are always measured from the pole. Distances to the right are positive and to the left are negative. Distances above principal axis are positive and below principal axis are negative. This we learn about mirror. The concept is similar for lenses also. For our lens, we assume optical center as the origin. So in mirror, pole was considered as a origin, and in lenses, optical center is considered as origin. So the first convention is that we always keep object to the left of optical center. Second convention is measure all the distances from the optical center. So all distances are measured from optical center of lens. The distance measured in the same direction as that of incident light are taken as positive. So all the distances towards the right are taken as positive. The distances measured against the direction of incident light are taken as negative. So the distances towards the left are taken as negative. The distance measured upward and perpendicular to the principal axis are taken as positive. So height of object should be taken as positive. Height of image If it is virtual and erect, then it will be positive, and if it is real and inverted, then it will be taken as negative. So the distances measured downward and perpendicular to principal axis are taken as negative. So according to first sign convention, that is, we always keep object to the left of optical center. According to this sign convention, the object distance will always be negative, but the image distance will be positive or negative depending on its position. In case of lenses, focal length can be measured on both the side of lens. So according to sign convention, focal length for convex lens is to be considered positive and it is considered negative for concave lens. This you have to remember. Rest all the conventions are similar like mirror. But in case of lens, focal length for convex lens is positive and focal length for concave lens is negative. So these are sign conventions for spherical lenses. We have to consider these for the lens formula. We learn about mirror formula. We also have formula for lenses. Lens formula is a formula or equation which gives relationship between object distance, image distance and focal length. It is expressed as 1 by v minus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f, where we know that distance of image from the optical center of lens, u distance of object from optical center of lens, and f is focal length of the lens. So this is our lens formula and it is applicable for all the spherical lenses and for different positions of the object. We have to use proper signs of different quantities according to sign conventions while solving problems based on this lens formula or which are related to the lens formula. Next is magnification. The magnification produced by a lens is the ratio of height of image and height of object. It is represented by letter m. If h is height of object, then h dash is the height of image. Magnification produced by lens is also related to object distance u and image distance v. So we can also write the formula, that is m is equal to v upon u. See, in the lens formula there is negative sign. So in magnification, negative sign is not there. And in case of mirror formula, there is positive sign in the mirror formula and negative sign is in the formula of magnification. Next is power of lens. The power of lens is defined as the reciprocal of its focal length. See, you would have observed different lenses of different thickness. Converging capacity and diverging capacity of the lenses is different. For example, converging capacity of thinner lens is not same as that of thicker lens. Thicker lens will converge more. So if the lens is thick, then that convex lens will converge more as compared to thinner lens. So we can say that thicker lens is having more power. So the power of lens is reciprocal of focal length. The focal length should be expressed in meter. It is denoted by letter P. The power P of lens of focal length f is given by P is equal to 1 by f. Power of convex lens is positive and that of concave lens is negative. See, as the focal length of convex lens is positive, so its power is also positive. And as the focal length of concave lens is negative according to Cartesian sign convention, so its power is also negative. The SI unit of power of lens is diopter. it is denoted by capital letter D. When focal length of lens is 1 meter, then power is said to be 1 diopter. So this is the definition of 1 diopter. That is, when focal length of lens is 1 meter, then power is said to be 1 diopter. So when focal length is small, power is larger because it is inversely proportional. And when focal length is larger, power is small. So focal length of lens and power both are inversely proportional to each other. Power of convex lens is always positive and power of concave lens is always negative. So this is all about lesson number 10, light, reflection and refraction. Hope you understood all the topics. Thank you and have a nice day. Take care.